So we're Workiflow. In case you haven't met us yet or weren't part of the previous webinar, we are one of the top Monday.com partners for North America, specifically Platinum partners. All that means is that we're Monday.com fanatics. And with that, because we've been able to service over 1,000 clients and grow our team to over 40 people, we've turned essentially into a Monday cult. But no, I'm not here to sell you anything or have you sign up for anything crazy. We're actually here just to share the excitement for AI agents because this is super revolutionary, very exciting, and we're basically going to get our hands dirty with you. So just to kind of preface this, because I did hear a few people kind of talking about like maybe getting a quick rundown on agents, I'm actually going to talk about specifically prompting guides. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to agents, you need to know how to communicate with it. If you don't know how to communicate with it and ask it or give it clear instructions, you're probably not going to get the best results. So we're going to start with 3 things. First one is you got to describe it like you're talking to a smart friend. So when you're thinking about describing something, think about it in a more conversational setting and having clear dialogue with it. So don't just say something very generic like make me a website or make me $1 million. We instead want to say, hey, I want a specific thing, in this case, create a task tracker with a form to add tasks, a list to display them, and buttons to mark them complete or delete them. The second thing is showing and not just telling. Giving examples really helps out AI. So instead of saying make a button that looks pretty, you want to say make a button in this specific style, just like XYZ. So in this case with Airbnb. And finally, let's break big features into baby steps. So instead of using something like add in user authentication, we want to break it down in steps. So let's add a login form with emails and passwords. Then let's add a form validation process to make sure it's actually filled out. And then finally connect it to an authentication service. So that's just like the high level. Then the next thing we want to do is specific questions we want to think about when we want to build something. So there are 4 main things: the role, the problem, the capabilities, and the guardrail. So the role is we want to give it an intentional understanding of what is the main thing we want to do. So in this case, I don't want to just say, hey, go answer phone calls. Instead is I want to be specific in saying it's an SDR, a service rep, or a project coordinator. So Monday agents are configured, deployed, and directed by any team member without any technical background required. So you just simply need to describe what it is. Then the problem is, what are you actually fixing? You don't want to say, well, help fix my pipeline. You want to be specific by saying, what are the pain points you're experiencing? What are the steps that are breaking apart? And how do you need the agent to actually solve them? And then the capabilities is, well, what are the skill sets they should have? So in this case is like, I need you to draft campaigns, or I need you to qualify leads, or I need you to go through this qualification process. And finally, and I think this is really important that people don't talk enough about, is like, what is off limits? We want to make sure we're very clear in saying this is allowed and this is absolutely not allowed. So within our brand voice guidelines is, what are the adjectives or words that we want to say? Or what are the ways that we should always be responding to clients for tickets? And so now that's out of the way, I can go ahead and do the formal introduction to Ruan and Ramel. So Ramel will be one of the panelists that will be answering any of your questions or concerns. And Ruan is our amazing talent, our head of sales and head of essentially many different responsibilities nowadays. But he's been an amazing team member who has led the charge with AI tools and AI agents. So he's going to go ahead and jump in by first starting with 2 specific examples that are pre-built and then a real life example of actually building something in real time. And what we're going to do is we're also going to let you put in Q&As or answer or ask any questions, and we'll try to answer them in real time. And we can even start tweaking the solutions as needed based on the feedback that we're getting. With that out of the way, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Ruan, you have the stage and you have the spotlight.
Danny, thank you so much. Yes, guys, as you mentioned, my name is Ruan. I'm the head of sales here at Workiflow. So currently what we're looking at is somebody called Jesse. But before we talk about Jesse, in the participants as well is one of my assistants. Their name is Robin. And Robin is in Monday.com's AI note taker. And we all know we have online meetings, a lot of action items get discussed, a lot of next steps get discussed. But then we have to go and manually add it in and try and remember what needs to be done next. So Robin works alongside Jesse. And as you guys can see, he simply turns sales meeting transcripts into clear, actionable tasks to keep everything moving forward. Before we jump into the whole backbone of Jesse and how he was onboarded, let's go take a look at an example of what he accomplishes. So if we go look inside of this board, you guys will notice we've got a lot of action items over here. So how does Jesse take a meeting transcript and create all of this? Simple. If you go look at the workflow builder inside of Monday.com, what are we looking at over here? We're simply seeing that when a meeting ends and the note taker is done its job, we're using an AI to summarize and extract certain information from the meeting transcript. And then once we've done that, we call on Jesse. So Jesse is the agent that then goes ahead and creates all of these action items for us, grouped by the meeting title with priorities, the source meeting, and the context of where he got that information. But that's not all. So it's great. We've got our tasks that need to be completed, but a lot of us also make use of our calendars and rely on our calendars to meet these deadlines. So what does Jesse do? He goes ahead and he creates meetings directly on your calendar, so you don't have to. Gives you the description right over here. Simple and easy, and does it all in a few minutes as soon as the meeting ends. Now, that is only one agent, and we're going to get into a little bit more of setting one up. But let's go take a look at a different use case. Let's go have a look and introduce you guys to Isabella. Isabella is my creative project management agent. What does she do? As we all know, reporting is important. We have a lot of reports that we need to put together. Either it's daily reports or weekly reports. And this is where Isabella comes in. She will go in and run a full project management check, scanning your portfolio and generate a daily check-in report, a weekly summary, and updating the main PMO report documents with its findings. So what does that look like? See that I've ran one year prior to the call. Let's go take a look. So she goes ahead and generates a brand new document inside of her folder, titles it and dates it, and then gives you a full health snapshot of everything that's going on. And we can quickly see what needs attention, what is doing fine, and where we need to do certain things. We can notice over here that she lays it out in an easy, readable manner with who's assigned to it, what are the tasks associated with it, and what action does she suggest for us to follow. Owner has been notified via the update section. The status note requested. Then she gives us a risk assessment as well, so the issues that she has detected, and even gives us recommended actions. Next check-in tomorrow, Tuesday, 19 May by Isabella. So very quickly, we've gone through Jesse, who handles meetings and brings in the action items. We've met Isabella, who handles our reporting. Let's jump into another use case. Let's get our hands dirty. So over here, we've got a simple tickets board. We've got a lot of tickets that are coming in. It's connected to our database. We've got certain SLAs to meet. But a lot of the times, the tickets that come in are repeatable issues. So how does that help us? We can see that we've got a library over here of all the different repeatable issues that we face. How do I request access for a new employee? My laptop is stuck on the loading screen. My VPN is not connecting. Screen monitoring. So various IT use cases, but it can also be customized for any type of request tickets that are coming in. So why don't we go ahead about an agent right with this ticketing system to help us resolve some of these tickets automatically. Inside of Monday.com, you will have your AI agents section in your AI dropdown, and here you can see all your various agents. There are two methods that you can do this. You can simply talk to the AI directly over here to start building your agent, but we want to slow things down a little bit. So let's go start from the beginning. So we will click on start from blank, and then we will get to the avatar creation section, because why not? Yeah, you're able to name your agent. So for this use case, let's go ahead and call him Bobby. And then you can give your agent a job title. Auto resolve tickets. You can choose your avatar on the left-hand side over here. Many different ones to choose from. This gentleman looks like a Bobby. And because my favorite color is purple, let's go give them a purple background. So let's go and onboard Bobby. So what are we looking at now? We've got a ready to build screen, but then we've also got some sections at the right-hand side over here. Let's take a scroll down to the bottom. Let's be different. Let's not start at the top. Let's start at the bottom. First thing that you'll notice over here is your skills. So Ruan, what is a skill? A skill in a nutshell is essentially a guideline of steps and examples and descriptions and guardrails of how to perform or do specific things. Now, right away, Monday.com has produced some certain that identified what always use case. So for example, we've got our project risks insights, and here we can see a nice description of what it will do, the instructions it has to follow, and the output format that we are looking for. Then we've got a social post creator and an HTML email builder. Let's go ahead and select the email builder, because why not have the agent respond to those emails that are coming in? And then let's also give it rewrite and refine skill so that it knows how to write and make sure that it looks good. Now, scrolling further up, we get to the tools section. If we click on add tool and explore all tools, there are pre-built tools that the agent is able to connect and work with. So for example, your calendar, as I showcased in the beginning with Jesse, your Slack to keep communications going and channels up to date. For this example, we're going to go ahead with Gmail. Now you'll see that it can do a couple of things. You can find certain emails, it can search for emails, download attachments from emails, but in this, we're just going to be sending an email. You will then select the account that you want to send the emails from. And now this is where it gets really interesting. We can control agent decision making. We can either say, always send it to this email, or we can say, let Bobby decide. If we click on more settings, we're also able to define what the subject needs to be, how the message needs to look, and who to reply to. But Bobby knows what he's doing, so let's have Bobby decide on everything. Let's add that in. Scrolling further up, we have the knowledge and access use case. So over here, this is where you can think of, if you have any SOP documents or certain examples that you want to give to your agent, you're able to upload those files over here directly. What you can also do is connect it to a Monday.com board so that it can access those boards. We know that we want to connect it to the repeatable issues, but we want to give it full access and not just view access, because we want to be able to allow the agent to go and create those new repeatable tickets that come in automatically for us. And then it also needs access to the tickets board where we're receiving those tickets so it can go and make the necessary changes and respond accordingly. Alrighty. Now we get to the fun part, the instructions part. Now you have two choices. Either expand this section here and start with your instructions over here, or for this example, you can simply message Bobby directly over here. So let's go have a look. Inside over here, I've gone ahead and I've created pre-built prompt already. So we can see over here that we are telling it that you are a customer support agent, what columns to reference, and what the two jobs are. Auto-resolve incoming tickets, grow the FAQ when you resolve all patterns emerge. And then very importantly, we are setting the tone and the rules. Let's go ahead and copy all of this information. And one thing that I want to take note of is, you see how we are talking to it like you would talk to any AI. Nothing fancy. Let's go jump in over here and let's send a message to Bobby. And Bobby will help us help him get onboarded. So now he's thinking and contemplating life, wondering if he actually wants this role. While he's busy thinking over there, one thing that you'll notice on the right-hand side is that the instructions area has already started updating over there. Now he says, perfect, I need two triggers, both firing on status changes in the tickets board. These are what activate my two jobs automatically without any manual intervention. Let's go ahead with item creation. Now you can either simply just continue chatting to it over here, or you can set up the triggers at a later stage over here. So let's say, for example, you've onboarded your agent, it's busy working, but now you wanted to go ahead and trigger or various other things, or maybe you want to update its instructions. You can always come back at a later stage and then come in and then add in those triggers or update the instructions as you guys go out. Should I add when the status changes to resolved? Yes, let's add that, please. 1, 2, 3. As easy as that, we've just onboarded our first agent right from the beginning. Shall we run a test? Let's test it out. So now you'll have the opportunity to run it. So now you can see he's running a full test on both by reading the tickets and the FAQ entries and performing semantic matching and reporting what actions would be taken without making real changes unless the data is supported. To set those parameters for your agents, because we don't want it to guess work or to send the wrong type of emails. So setting the limitations on what your agents are actually allowed to do, because with AI and robots taking over, we want to make sure that we limit them. So we can see that he's reading the items. Here we go. This test run looks great. Here's the summary. Found one live new ticket from Caroline Smith at company.com. We all know those employees at company. How do I request access for a new employee? 95% confident in being able to respond. Post a personalized reply to Caroline, set it as self-resolved, and then no resolved tickets on the board yet. So everything is working as expected. Let's go take a look at that in real time. So let's go in and fill in a form. So for those who do know service, and for those that do not, service allows us to submit either a form for ticket requests, or it can even come through your email channels, right? So even if you get those emails get sent to you, service will go ahead and create the line item, triage it to escalate it or auto resolve it so that you don't have to waste time anymore. So let's go for this example. Let's go fill out an example and we'll use my address. There we go. We hit submit. So there we go. That's come in over there and this is busy running now. It's creating an update. Alrighty. So we can see that this one has come in. My laptop screen is black and copy and it's automatically marked it as self-resolved. So it's automatically sorted out the ticket that has come in. And we can see over here, if I click on that, my laptop screen will auto-resolve. The FAQ was 75% confident. Addressed Ruan by name with step-by-step troubleshooting, change the status to self-resolved, and an internal note logged on the ticket with full action audit trail. Let's go have a look at that. So here you can see 1 minute ago, the steps that it completed and no human intervention required over here. And that is a live agent.
Ruan, someone actually asked a great question. Can you actually open up the agents tab again and showcase how tokens are used and kind of like that activity log?
Yeah. So you'll actually be able to have a clear record of all the activity that's going on inside of your account. Yeah, we can actually have an idea of how many credits actually get used. A good way to think about it is depending on the complexity of the request or the agent's role, it will vary in how many credits it's using. So for example, we can see over here that it uses 51 credits. Yeah, it only used 39. Yeah, it only used 32. So there you can actually see your credit consumption of all your agents.
And for further clarification, credits are typically like 1 penny or 1 cent per action, but they're usually sold in bundles.
Something else I would like to note before we get into a live use case is you're also able to communicate with your agents via WhatsApp. And for those that still use Telegram, via Telegram. So you can chat with your agent from your WhatsApp and give it instructions and trigger it directly from there. Now for a very fun example. You guys will notice I've got an empty workspace over here. Quite interested to see what use cases are in the channel, and let's build out one together.
Oh, George, an agent for deduping CRM contacts. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. We can start with that one.
Alrighty. So let's put that into my Claude and say deduping CRM contacts. So what you guys will notice in a second over here is that boards are magically going to be up here. This is not Harry Potter magic. This is AI magic. So now it's going ahead and it's creating me a master list, a duplicate contact pairs, and a De-Dupe action log. And now that all the 3 boards are created, let's go use some more AI magic to go ahead and create data for us inside of these boards. So we can see it's going in and first adding the required columns, and it's doing it simultaneously. While this is building, to answer one of the questions in the chat, an agent is able to search the web as well. If you can even give it the website link to give it access to that. Yes, it can search the internet for you as well. So if we're thinking about an agent that brings in leads, from a certain place, it can do that as well. Alrighty, how are we doing over here? We got our columns built out. So going ahead with the columns over here. I was going to mention about the credit limiting inside of your agent. So because it depending on, for example, you had an hour-and-a-half meeting and there was a lot of next steps and a lot of action items. And one of the actions that your agents are taking is that it's creating the next steps. It's creating a summary. It's adding it to your Google Calendar. It's sending notifications inside of Slack, maybe sending emails as well. It's going to vary on how many credits it's going to use. However, where we can start having a handle on top of that is by building certain agents to do specific roles and jobs so that we know that, okay, this agent is only going to use a max of 50 credits and the other agents can use a max of 20 credits because that's the most extreme part of it. So while this is building out, if we go take a look at Jesse again and his activity, we can see on the high end, he's only used 51 credits for that one specific thing. But on the rest, everything is between 40, 38, 36, 32. So we'll be able to identify what's the max credits. So once we've onboarded our agents and we've let them run, for example, 1 month, at the end of that month, we'll be able to identify what is the high end of the max credits that your agent is using. Cool. So we've got dummy data that's been inserted over here. As you guys can see, it's all South African numbers. It's gone ahead and done the same over here, duplicate contact pairs. It's worth noting that right now we're just building standard boards directly through the MCP. This can all be, the agent's guidance and role and instructions can all be defined based on your current structure. So depending on how you have your context set up, we can alter the instructions of the agent according to that. So now that we have all our data, let's go and build an agent. So Now we're going to go to AI agents, and then we are going to take the prompt and we're going to follow that same process. So start from blank. Let's give this agent another name. Let's call him Ocean or her Ocean. This looks like an auntie that's called the Ocean, and we onboard Ocean. And then we can take the prompt that was given to us by Claude. We can go ahead with the instruction that it needs to do. Ocean doesn't seem to have stage fright, so we can see she's going in quite quickly. So now it's going to ask us to connect the boards. So which board should I connect first? Select the CRM context master list, the CRM context master list, duplicate context pair board, and then the last board that we need to connect it to, which is the action log. Cool. So how would we like to run it? Do we want to run it when a new contact is added to the master list, or maybe on a schedule, daily or weekly? Let's say when a new contact is added to the master list, so when an item is created. Cool. So here's where things stand. Her instructions have been saved, all 3 boards are connected, and fire new contact is created. But let's go add some skills to her as well. Let's go add the duplicate finder skill to her because that's what we want her to do. And then now we can run a test scan.
One thing I did want to mention is, as we're waiting for it to finish running, is sometimes it's not going to get right the first time, and that's okay. Part of the thing with an agent is you need to think about it like it's a real person, that they need some additional training and some additional feedback so it can nail the right response. So even though it might not be perfect the first or even second time, running multiple simulations and multiple tests before you get into real data is very important. Kind of like Maret said, it's like an intern, right? You have to train them up and make sure that they go through different scenarios so that they can eventually succeed in a much more cohesive and consistent manner in future real life tests. So basically, run test scenarios before you run real data scenarios to make sure it's doing everything as intended.
Completed. Here's the breakdown of everything that was found. So scanned 19s, it identified 9 new pair records created. So you can see over here, Lisa, same email, phone and company, multiple signals, same phone, company name, initial. Then it's also flagged some for us for human review and to miss some others over here. So all findings are logged in the duplicate context pair board. No contexts were deleted or merged, save scan only. What would you like to do next? Proceed with the 3 auto merge pairs and review the human flagged ones. So to end it off, when Pavlo, you asked a great question over there in regards to this, right? If the previous contact was already connected to the opportunities or other boards, what will happen? How will the system be updated in a way that will not mess things up? That is an amazing question. And what it means is it all comes down to you. What would you like it to happen? Would you like it to go most updated contact that has come and get rid of the old one? Do you want to merge the two, like it's suggesting over here, so that it merges and keeps the information from the new contact and updates the existing one with the fields? It's really up to you at that point how you would like it to finish off with this De-Dupe. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my voice. I hope this was helpful and it sparked a lot of thinking and ideas. Back to you, Mr. Danny.
Cool, thank you. So most importantly, I just want to make sure we're on the same page that it's not AI replacing humans. It's not AI versus humans. It's AI plus humans. So the whole point of this is to help ensure your team is supercharged to the next level. So instead of them focusing and spending a lot of time and energy on any rudimentary or basic work, they can actually focus on valuable work that helps bring business to you all. And so on that note, this is just like us basically saying, hey, we are really confident in what we do. But most importantly, you can actually go ahead and start putting in some Q&As and also book some time with us if you want a free audit and also need some support with setting up your AI agents. Or I know some of y'all also ask kind of about like how to get this enabled. We can set in priority tickets to also make sure that Monday can reroute that to the right people and then get that enabled on your account. And of course, if any of y'all had any live agent builds, I know we saw multiple requests of those that you wanted to actually see be built on that session when you book with us or with Ruan or with Ramel or with myself, we can actually build that agent in real time for you, potentially even on your account, so you can see it in real time. And again, this is completely free till June 8th, so take advantage of it. Please make sure like you can go ahead and trial it out without committing to anything. So I think it's a great opportunity for you to actually see it in real time and see if it makes sense for you and your team to even try to commit to anything before you spend any money. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I would like to know how to create Claude skill sets in Claude for a specific brand and have it automatically sync to Monday.com and add the files under a resources tab. It tags my writers and marketing teams in real time.
Yeah, that's a great question. Ruan, because you're the one that works with the MCP more, maybe you can answer that?
Yeah, happy to. So, in short, yes, it is completely possible. So, when you build out your skill set inside of Claude, you will give it the parameters. And then once you've done that, you can then connect your Claude to the MCP and to the relevant board. And then you can give options of exactly what you want to do. So that whenever you're using Claude and with your creations, it can then go ahead and add those files into Monday.com inside of a files column or anything. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah, it was. I was thinking maybe one thing to add is especially if this is something that multiple team members are using, is to make this an organizational skill or organizational level skill, meaning that it's not just a skill that applies to you, but potentially applies to your entire organization. So you can create a project instance in Claude. So instead of having a simple prompt, a project always includes a standard prompt plus the skill sets that are required. So for example, we can call it project make Monday amazing .md or whatever you want to call it. And you can have this project that then auto generates Monday boards in the same way each and every time. And then you can make this applicable for your entire team or organization.
Okay, so I can see where using the Monday agents are really helpful if you're not comfortable with MCP. However, are you better off with Claude/ChatGPT plus MCP in terms of speed, or is it still better to use agents?
My philosophy in this is that the platform that has its own AI agents understands its platform the best. So if Monday has its own AI agents, it probably also understands Monday internally and the infrastructure better. But I think Claude and ChatGPT are really good for are for more generalized applications or even like things that can plug into Monday and can even help set up some of the infrastructure. So for example, helping build out a portfolio solution or a generic CRM and get you like 60, 70, potentially even 80% of the way there. But these agents are the ones that are not just like setting the infrastructure, but they're actually doing the work. So unless you have something like Claude Cowork where it plugs in externally into Monday, it would be a lot easier and simpler to set something up directly or natively within Monday because you're basically going through the same steps, but removing all the hoops of actually taking action. So you say, I want this agent to do these things in these ways, and it'll actually do this. And for those who don't know what MCP is, it's a modal context protocol, which is super fancy for saying that's how agents actually talk to platforms. It's like an API for agents. And an API is just a fancy way of saying how we can chat to the backend side of the software. So instead of you having to code or be a software engineer to talk with it, it's a much more user-friendly way where you can use normal language to tell the agent, hey, go access this software and do these actions or take these steps.
If you would like to meet with our team of experts to scope out what agents would look like in your account or how you can make this actionable, as well as requesting putting in a priority ticket to make sure that these functions are enabled in your account. Was there anything else from you, Danny?
No, I think that's it.
Wonderful.
All
Well,
right.
thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you all. It was a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.